Stay put. Oops. Oops. Sorry everyone. Hello. Let me just get all this stupid microphone business sorted. Alright, that'll have to do. Let me adjust this down a tad. Oh, come on, wrong way. That's better. Flattering view. Okay. Alright, rocky start. Let's turn the background lights on. Don't lose my microphone again. There we go. Homely. Now, YouTube is telling me that it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers may experience buffering. I don't know how to fix that. I'm using everything the same as previous streams and haven't seen that message before, so I don't know. Can I try anything else? No. It doesn't look like there's too much buffering on my end. The video's smooth, says everyone. Alright, we'll roll with it. YouTube can shut up. Well, hello everyone. We've got in the chat Dark Frosty 101 who says nice. G'day Dark Frosty. Vanderbricks, hello. Albert, hello. AH137, hello. Aussie Kelpie, we have sound, hello. Roderick Smith says, why do you have a sponge cake in one ear and custard in the other? Speak up, I'm trifle deaf. Yeah, alright. And hello Emma, good to see everyone. And Herman has popped in as well. Wow, we've got lots of people. Oh, hang on, what's this? Oh no. Yeah, so tonight's topic is photos from my railway hikes. I've done a few railway hikes over the years, but the two which stand out are my two biggest ones, the two that went over multiple days, and a lot of you Fogarty Avenue fans will know that they are, of course, the Malort hike and the South Gippsland railway hike. Les is very slowly releasing the videos on the South Gippsland hike. Please don't ask me when the next one is. I don't know until you know. Or, okay, no, that's not quite true. I know a little bit sometimes, but often the answer is he's not working on it right now and I don't know when he's going to start. And neither does he. So, YouTube, dairy. Yeah, so let's get set up for the photo stream. Both of these hikes were when I was in year 12, funnily enough, 2016. And I keep meaning to do multiple day hikes, another one, but they just don't end up happening for one reason or the other. But it's looking like I will be almost certainly doing one over the Rubicon SEC lines in November. which I think I've mentioned a couple of times before. But let's start the screen capture. Oh, and here's a cool little quiz, railway related quiz for you. That is a diagram for a locomotive wheel. Which locomotive? I will tell you that it's a Victorian Railways steam locomotive, of course, but which steam locomotive? I will say when someone gets the answer right, or I will tell you at the end of the video, of the stream. Actually, before we get started on the photos, let's just start this off by visiting the map, which I think I will have to get up separately. Whoa. New window. Okay. Yep, here we go. Okay. Let's just... Everyone's got access to this link. Of course, it's my All Lines Railway map. It's in the description of all my videos these days, including live streams. And it's a bit sluggish when we are loading YouTube as well. Let's go all the way down. Change this to terrain. Alright, that's a better view. So, here's Melbourne. We follow the Ballarat line first, because this is how we got to the first line, which is Malort. Or some people just know it as the Maryborough to Castlemaine line. But we've got this line here which goes to Ballarat. And towns of note is Balan here. We'll have a couple of photos in Balan. And then a couple of photos in Ballarat. And then we took the train up to Maryborough, right here. And this is where the hike started, and it went along this orange line right here. First stop, Carisbrook. Last stop that we got to was Newstead, right here. We intended to go for this last section from Newstead to Castlemaine, but it rained and we didn't really feel like walking in the rain, so we called it quits and we hoped to go back another time, and we never did. So learned our lesson on that one. Always complete your hikes, because don't say that you'll go back another day, because you won't. I still hope to, but you know, one day. South Gippsland we completed in full, but I think I'll switch to photos first, and then if we get time for South Gippsland, then I will show you South Gippsland on the map as well. Anyway, there's a couple of guesses for the locomotive wheel, and one person has got it right. I'll read through the answers first, and then I will reveal who got it right. Van and Bricks says, is it a D3? No. Well, okay, I said I wasn't going to be telling you exactly. I'm just going to read through them, and then I'm going to tell you who's right. D3 says Van and Bricks. Is it an S-class, says Herman. Albert asks J-class. Roderick Smith says, I go for J, can't see the dimensions. Van and Bricks says, wouldn't be a J, spokes are too thin. I reckon might be onto something there. R707, nope. Herman's channel says it won't be J or R. They have a different wheel pattern, like spokes but not spokes. Good pickup. Van Brick says could be a K or a D3. Could be. But put the diagram back while I read the answers. Okay. And I'll give you a couple of bits of information that you might not be able to see before I reveal the correct answer, because someone's already got it. The diameter of the wheel is approximately 5 foot 6.7 inches. You can round it up to 5'7" if you like. The axle diameter looks like 11.5 inches diameter. What some other dimensions I can give you? The spokes have a width of, it looks like 2 1/8 inch at the largest section, and at the largest, towards the wheel center, and towards the edge of the wheel they've got a width of 1 inch and 5/8. And I think I just revealed what loco class this is. Yeah, it's an S-class. Well done, Herman's channel. You're the only one who guessed correctly. Why do I have the diagram of an S-class up? I was attempting to model the wheel in CAD just for fun, and I got very confused and didn't actually do any work, because I was like, how do I even start on this? But let's go back to the photos. G'day, Jonathan Fee. Good to see you. Roderick Smith says, aha, the dotted lines made it look like a SCOA P. It isn't BoxPoc. Well, no, it's not BoxPoc, and it's not a SCOA P either. It's just a traditional spoked wheel. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm sure someone made a mock-up of an S-class with BoxPoc or SCOA P wheels. It'd be interesting to see. Anyway, photo time. This is Balan. Balan looks a little bit different today. As many of you who chased the R-class with the H set would know, because it stopped here and a lot of people were here. What was it, last weekend? Gee. Just Vandenbrick says, making loco wheels is always a pain with 3D design, but try making detailed bogey frames. Okay. I mean, yeah, it sounds like an easier task. I'm usually pretty good with CAD, but the diagram got a bit confusing. And so, yeah, Balan now has a second platform that is about right here. All of these random bits of track are gone. The good shed remains, which is always nice. And the main station building, apart from having a great big footbridge to get to the other platform, remains mostly unchanged. Vandenbrick says it's a lot more tedious, the bogies. Okay. And Herman's channel says, thanks. Figured it had to be your mainline loco looking at the balance weights for scale. And just went for S-class because the wheels look large. D3 was a good guess. All right. There's a photo of the level crossing, Velocity, everyone's favourite railway train, V-line train, whatever you want to call it. This is inside an abandoned, what do you call it, slaughterhouse in Balan, just not too far from the station. I mean, we walked there with hiking packs, so yeah, won't tell you exactly where it is, but I'm sure you can find it. If you look for it, it's a relatively well-known place. Max is there taking in the view at the top of this little water tower. And looks like Dylan is doing the same. So I went with 4 friends: Max, Dylan, Les, and James. And myself makes 5. Dirt roads, Balan station again. That's a different... The second platform is just behind the goods shed. Because you see that's the main station platform there. And yeah, just behind there is where the second platform is today. Les being silly on the train. That was a common theme was silly photos on the train. But we're at Ballarat now, of course, with this. What do you call this again? I forget. Where you pull down the destination things. Someone let me know. Velocity. I don't know why I was photographing it, but I'm pretty sure all of those original seat fabrics have now been changed to PDV. Oh, a master plan for the station precinct. Looks like it has changed a little bit since this was put up there. Although the area is still all under construction, but there's a big multi-storey car park right here. And the goods shed right there is that's being used, or is being converted into a shopping centre, I believe. I think that's what they've arrived on now. It was going to be a hotel and a conference room, and I think it's going to be a shopping centre now. Bathgate indicator, indeed, that was for the pull down destination things. I mean, looks like that's an original Ballarat sign, not a replica. Nice old clock. Some nice old plans, which are a bit blurry from my camera. But you can view all these things in more detail if you visit Ballarat Station itself. So we're going to skip through it relatively quickly. Payphone. Or they're no longer paid, are they? Telstra just announced recently that all payphones are now free phones. But the catch is you're limited to a maximum phone call length of 6 hours. So I regularly spend an hour plus on the phone to some of my mates, but including Les, but I've never topped 6 hours. That's for sure. 6 hours, wow. Especially at a payphone, like who's standing there for 6 hours? You've got to be pretty dedicated. This cool station, a map of the station showing the line which we are about to walk. From Maryborough to Castlemaine via Carisbrook, Malort, Newstead, Strangway, Guildford, Campbell and Castlemaine. Yes, free phone, says Albert. Victorian Rail Heritage says at Ballarat there used to be an Australian National Library motor rail wagon. It later got scrapped. I remember filming it. I've definitely got photos of it. I think I filmed it. You'll eventually one day see footage of the entire inside of the goods shed from Les. Free phone. Jack the railway enthusiast says no, the goods shed is being restored and will be a restaurant. There you go. I can never keep up with the changes. They change it every 2 months, what it's going to be used for. It says watch the number of prank calls skyrocket. That's certainly. Imagine calling it a payphone for 6 hours. Well, it's a free phone now. Damn, 6 hours. Telstra really trying to scam me. Free phone, he already corrected himself. And I need at least 7 to 8 hours if I get into the train chat. Well, yeah, fair enough, mate. All right. We were talking about a new crossing loop at, where is it? Rowsley. There you go. Ballarat Station with, look at that, that's another piece of history. The Lydia Street gates, which are no longer. For those of you who don't know, what happened was during the massive lockdown last year, a velocity, I think what happened, I don't think the final report is out yet, actually, but from what I've heard, the transmission on a velocity failed, and so it spilt transmission oil all over the tracks, which meant that the wheels were very, very slippery, and so the train couldn't brake despite trying to. The driver couldn't brake despite trying to, and the train sped through the station and smashed through the level crossing gates at over 100 kilometres an hour. The interim report has definitely been released, but not the final report, I believe. And it's been revealed to everyone that the gates will be replaced with boom gates. So yeah, sad to see a bit of history go, but yeah, what can you do? Victorian Railway Heritage says it was, I think you're referring to the Good Shed, owned by West Coast Railway at one point, but they never used it. Eventually, VLAN wanted to rip up the roads, and no one wanting the motor rail wagon, it was scrapped. Yeah, Pacific National and Freight Australia had some sort of lease over it at one stage. Because I've seen photos of their locomotives there. That was in the early 2000s. And Jack says, other than your stop on red signal sign and wishbone gate, what other level of crossing equipment do you have? That's pretty much the extent of my collection. I'm not a serious collector of that sort of thing. I just have acquired little bits and pieces over time from people who have said, hey, I found this on the side of the road and here, do you want it? Anyway, moving on. There's a lot of comments. I'm trying to keep up. Let's just view a few more photos and then I'll view a few comments. We'll look at that. The 7.4 Signal Gantry with the sun shining through the stained glass lenses. That's quite nice. It's a pretty dark photo, but James has just collapsed on the stairs. Something is no longer consigned at this premise. Oh, all freight for the Warrnambool bus to be consigned somewhere else. So this is inside the freight shed, which is looking very different today. Horsham Freight. Look at that, container transport export experts for 20 years. There you go, some Pacific National documents. V-Line. Freight Australia. Asbestos. I didn't touch that too much. Oh, look at all that dust. I kind of wish that I saved some of these documents because I don't think they would have been saved unless someone can correct me. The maps, they weren't really savable, but, or at least most of them. This one would have been, but it's nothing that is too rare. Freight stuff. Oh, look at all those boxes. We had to get out of here. Oh, well, I'm photographing a grain train coming through. But, yeah, Victoria Railways Institute. We had to get out of there because PSO's got a little suspicious. But thankfully, I think James and maybe someone else was on the outside and managed to throw them off the trail while we got out. It's not like we were doing anything bad, but, you know. So, let's read a few comments. These are rolling in very fast. RIP to the Southern Gate, says Jack. No, the gates were destroyed before the second lockdown started. I'm pretty sure we were in some sort of lockdown because no one was on the train. Or like maybe one or two people were on the train. Point is, very few people were on the train, and while it was late, it wasn't that late. And one of the big things was that it could have been a lot worse had we not been in the COVID situation. It was definitely affected by COVID at some point. Victorian Rail Heritage says, I heard the sanders also didn't work. I mean, sanders can only help you so much. If you're spilling butt tons of transmission oil onto the wheels, onto the track. Herman's channel said, I read the report on that and there was a photo of the crash. It was just a screenshot from the security camera footage and you could see the playback bar. There was an actual video of like the security camera footage. I've seen the actual footage, not just a screenshot from it. And you must have read the interim report, so the difference between an interim report and a final report the interim report, the purpose of it is really just to lay out the facts of the incident, to say, this is what happened, this is what we know, and it often provides any sort of urgent safety recommendations, which there were no urgent safety recommendations, at least in the interim report. It's quite possible that there will be some ultimate safety recommendations in the final report, and the final report is going to describe the cause of the incident, not just the facts. And by the facts, I mean like the velocity was travelling at this speed and the driver tried to apply brakes. The interim report did clear the driver. So they said, doesn't appear to be the driver's fault. But it's still, I'm not sure if it made mention of transmission failure or sander failure or stuff like that. I think that's all more so for the final report. Having said that, a lot of the lead investigators are actual railway enthusiasts, and rumours get around. So, yeah. Okay. Such a shame, rip. Sucks the gate's gone. Oh no, shame. They couldn't put the old gates back. Guess I won't get to see them old style. They'll put them back, but off to the side, like New Street. Exit sign, central signal, saw some Freight Australia VHDF wagons. Those are the grain wagons. What other abandoned lines did you walk when you were in Fogarty Avenue? The main other one was South Gippsland line, but I've done a couple of other little ones. I can talk about that at the end. Many still around today, but they could become a rarity in the future, possibly about maps. Possibly, but I kind of doubt it. We weren't in lockdown then, and it was between 11 and 12 that the gates were destroyed on May 30th last year. Okay, so we might not have been in lockdown, but I remember there was some restriction. I think it was that the footy wasn't running yet. So, or the footy was somewhere else. Something to do with the footy, which meant that the train would normally be very packed, but it wasn't on this night. And how have I been during lockdown? Been alright. Yeah, whatever. It's another 7 days. You've got to deal with it. Most of my time is spent doing uni work, so it's kind of no different to me, lockdown or not. Although I have had some weekend plans cancelled, which sucks, but what can you do? Alright, what are your thoughts about the Noira to Leongatha section of the South Gippsland line between being turned into rail trail? My basic thoughts are it doesn't prevent a future train line being built. The original purpose of rail trails was to preserve the alignment, and I'd rather see it be turned into a rail trail than just sold off. And if it keeps the reservation around, I'm happy. That's my main thing, and I'm not anti-rail trail, to be real honest with you. Recent lockdown's been a pain. Was going to do my SRV induction. Sucks for you. But you'll get your chance. Canberra and Leongatha needs passenger trains. Debatable. But as I said, the rail trail doesn't prevent them from happening in the future. So people get way too upset about the rail trail. Anyway, that's enough about the rail trail. Ballarat Station, the Miners Tavern. This is where we had dinner, and it's 40 minutes in and we've still barely got any photos. Let's speed things up. Too much chitter chatter. Max topping up his Mikey. Nice, what do you call it? LCD segmented display, 7-segment display. This is us getting onto the train to Maryborough. And let's see, no, let's try and brighten this up because I think I can show something. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty poor, you can see all this purple haze, but what I wanted to point out was the dock platform. That is no longer. I did manage to catch a steam rail special from there one time, so that's pretty good. There's not too many modern rail enthusiasts who can claim that. Most of the dock platform trains have stopped long before my time. Anyway, is this Maryborough? Or is that Ballarat still? No, that's Ballarat still. I'm just photographing the dock platform at night. Dylan having a snooze on the train. Creswick. Yeah, the train was... I'm pretty sure at that point in time, Maryborough only had one train a day. Now I think it's got 2 or 3 trains a day. There's Maryborough. VHAF grain wagons. There we go, after the train has gone off to stable. Looking at some comments. It says lockdown, 3 weeks down, many more to go up here in Sydney. Indeed. Feel for you Sydney siders. Vanderbilt says I'll get rebooked, no massive deal. Yep, indeed. Depends on if it's viable. The trains, yeah. Miners Tavern is now closed. Oh, damn. The dock platform was where the motor rail wagon was, I'm pretty sure. Not quite. It was a little bit further up. But it was close. It wasn't in the platform, but it was pretty close. It wasn't another track. It is 2 trains running to Maryborough every weekday and 1 running to Maryborough on weekends. There you go. What year month are these photos from? These are all from April 2016. The 3rd of April 2016. VHGF are the only VR freight wagon that really operates on freight, if you think about it. They're certainly the most common, but you get a few VHAFs in a few of the Pacific National rates. James at Maryborough standing there. Oh. Well, everyone except me standing in front of the sign at Maryborough. Grand old station, Maryborough. Old semaphore. And there you go. Looks like an X or an XR, probably an XR. And a G, of course. Oh, G524. And XR557, there you go. That's our velocity. I think this is us at the caravan park trying to check in at, what time is it? 8:34 p.m. Oh yeah, so this is the next day in the morning. Eating breakfast, which is, looks like everyone's eating cereal with powdered milk out of Ziploc bags. That's a classic hike food, that. Oh, but it's so bad. I've had enough powdered milk cereal in my time, and I don't want any more of it, thanks. When I'm hiking these days, I'll either have like a muesli bar, or if I get really sick of muesli bars, maybe something else. We're probably starting the hike now. Yeah, we're still in Maryborough. Just walking along the line. Oh, geez. Dylan's already looking pretty damn tired. Max and Les are looking alright. I don't think... Well, no, we hadn't even got to Carisbrook yet. What's that, an old TV or something? I don't know. Some bit of electronics. Oh yeah, ants. An ant. What is that? That's not an ant, that's a spider carrying a bee. Or is it an ant? I think it's a big ant, actually. Yeah, it's a big ant carrying a bee. Horses. Someone's burning off in the background. There you go. Grain terminal looks like. Carisbrook, I believe. Yeah, we're at Carisbrook. Max and Dylan approaching. Les getting the shot. Les looks rather obese. He's lost all of that weight now. Oh yeah, that's a nice bridge over. Don't think it's any particular river. It's just, or creek. It's just a bridge over flood lines. Let's see. Carisbrook. Let's see if I can find it on the map here. Might be here. Or is it there? So, okay, it looks like there's a few random tributary creeks, unnamed. Okay. And little siding off here. Carisbrook ballast siding. I don't think I really knew exactly where it was when I was walking the line, but there you go, 172 kilometres from Melbourne, that is. Track kilometres. Everyone's laying down and sitting down for a bit of lunch. I believe it was quite a hot day, so everyone was pretty exhausted already, and Les looks pretty exhausted by the looks of it. And I think he's just being a bit stupid as well. There you go. Some grain silos in the background. Now we are at Malort, the namesake of the line. There's James, looking quite tough. James was our saviour at Malort because the farmer who is responsible for the land rocked up and basically at first accused us of trying to vandalise or steal some stuff, and James was the one who calmed him down and convinced him that no, we're just random hikers who just happened to stumble across this place. And his famous line was, You're in the middle of Malort, he exclaimed, as if to say, no one comes here. No one chooses to come here. And it's like, yeah, except us. So, there you go. View from high up. All of the Malort yard here has been ripped up now. And when I was in here was when I realised, oh, this site is still active. Very active. Because the shed is filled to the brim with grain. Departing shots of Malort silos. And this was where we camped. Geez, look at that, one of the few photos of me setting up camp. This is, I think I can show you on the map. Where are we? There's Malort. We're probably about here. We're at the top of the grade, which looks like it's about here. And that's where we set up camp, just access road beside the line. It's as good a camp spot as any, and actually as far as campsites go, this is kind of one of my favourites. Even though it's not traditional beauty, but yeah, I quite like the Western Plains. Les and Max setting up their tent. Being 5 of us, we had one 3-man tent and one 2-man tent. That's the 2-man tent, which is owned by Les, and the other tent is a 3-man owned by myself. Some sunset shots. That is a classic photo of mine. There's silos and sunset. Geez, now I'm looking at these photos and thinking, oh, I want to go back. Tom Zager, Little River camping spot. Yeah. Reminds you of that one, doesn't it? Yeah, must catch up with you, Tom. It's been a while. But, yeah. Shit always happens. Yeah, Little River was a nice camping spot as well, where Tom and I camped beside the railway line. A bit different. Little River is quite active, and we were more set back from the line. We weren't that close. We would have been kicked out, but we went. Ooh, some nice star shots, even though they're blurry as hell. Managed to get it less blurry, but they're still a bit blurry. You can sort of just make out the Milky Way there. Let's read some comments. What's my favourite regional railway station, Floyd? Yeah, I don't really have a favourite. If I had to name one, Little River, sure. Let's go with Little River. Level crossing there is now gone. Okay. Some of the first VHGFs ever made still operate today. Number 20 is at North Geelong currently. Oh yeah. Burn off. Indeed. The map. I know these are old comments. It's interesting to see old goods wagons scattered across rural Victoria. There were goods trains where goods trains no longer go, or if the line is closed, I think he was trying to say. Roderick Smith says, Carisbrook was my grandfather's station in the 1930s. The bridge should be at the down end of Carisbrook, and is the third at the location. There you go. Yep. Gee, Les looks very different today. Indeed he does. You don't just walk into Malort. Les, I'm going to get struck by a train. We'll be right back. Yeah. On his what do you call it? Geelong to, or Warn Ponds to Werribee walk. Clever little bit of editing there. Oh yeah, you said that. And Jack says, I walked a short disused freight line last Sunday. This ran out of Redden, a suburb of Ballarat, and served to former cattle yards and factories. Yeah. Hang on, was Sunday the day that the R ran? Or was that Saturday? Because if it was, I might have seen you. I explored that same line on the day that the R class visited Ballarat the other day. I didn't do it on foot, I did it by car, but I know the line. It was Saturday when it ran. So I missed you by a day. There you go. Yeah, it's not a very walkable line. There's a lot of fences everywhere and vegetation in parts that make it impassable. But I might do a video on it one day. McClure Street is the crossing. You said it was gone. Okay. Rorick says traditionally trains to what would become the Mildura line ran via Castlemaine. This may not have changed until approximately 1930. Oh yeah. Just on a note about driving the line, it was quite muddy, but having a Subaru Outback all-wheel drive with all-terrain tyres on, I knew that I would be okay. And although I had a few wheels spinning at times, I got through it just fine. Anyway, let's continue on. That's in the morning, I believe. Yes, it is. Looks like we've got a few breakfast remains there. Looks like somebody got the stove out. Maybe had there's some cans of some description over there. It might have been from the night before. We cleaned up all of our rubbish before we left. That's always good camping practice, is never leave any rubbish out in the bush. There you go, Max packing up his mattress with Les. And I think that's a final photo just before every last thing had been packed up. And yeah, off we go. Oh, Dylan's taking his shirt off. James and Max both looking a bit tired. And here we are at the most impressive bridge on the entire line. Over Joyce's Creek, of course. Or the Kangaroo Reservoir. Albert says, gotta go, really interesting photos. Thanks, Floyd. See you later, Albert. Jack says it took you 4 hours and 30 minutes to walk. That's not bad. That's, really not bad. It took me 2 hours to thoroughly inspect it by car. So 4.5 hours for walking it, not a bad effort. You filmed the R-Class at Ballan and Bacchus Marsh last Saturday. You might have seen me at Ballan and Bacchus Marsh, because those are two stations which I went to. Actually, did I go to Bacchus Marsh? I don't know, maybe. No, I think I did. Yeah, no, I did. I went to both. And Will James Railways says, I lived in Carisbrook from 2001 to 2006 and walked to Malort a few times. Ah, that's pretty cool. 2001 to 2006. You might have even been there when trains were still running, am I correct? You weren't at the stations to film it, alright. Gloat, says Roderick Smith, I have been to Redden by train several times. Indeed, a gloat. Oh yes, that is looking over at the original alignment. It's just a small bridge over Joyce's Creek. You can see there was basically no water in the reservoir whatsoever. But the original alignment, where are we? Here. This red line here was the original alignment, and the orange line was the final alignment. And maybe if I go to satellite view, yeah, you can see the bridge would have been just there. Let's change back to terrain. Back there. Victorian Rail Heritage says, did you see many Freight Australia trains to Will? He says it was still an active line. Thought so. Jack says I filmed the 9-car velocity at Bacchus Marsh station when it headed to Melbourne. Oh yeah, I didn't get any shots myself with the 9-car velocity, but I was aware that it was running. And Will says, absolutely, I do have some photos and videos of short grains and some specials. Very nice. Would be cool to see some of those one day. Indeed it would be. Victorian Rail Heritage says a type of rail of wagon that is rarely ever talked about. The Victorian Railway's bogie flower wagons, also known as VPFX, VPLX and VZGX wagons. Yeah. I've got a couple of photos of those wagons myself. And yeah, rarely talked about, but certainly aware of them. And they're cool. We've gone over the hour mark, but that's not uncommon for this live stream. Yeah, we definitely won't get to South Gippsland. I will do South Gippsland next stream, which will be in 2 weeks' time, and I'm going to change the title and thumbnail of this live stream to reflect the changes that it's just going to be below for this one. Or actually no, I'll just call it part 1 and part 2. I won't worry about it too much. Looking very dry. I mean, oh yeah, the Kangaroo. Yeah, this Kangaroo had gotten caught up in the fence, and we weren't sure how badly injured it would be, so after very carefully approaching it, we managed to set it free from the fence. Unfortunately, it had broken its leg, so we just called the wildlife helpline, and they came to euthanize it, which was the best outcome given the circumstance. There they are. Those guys were real troopers. They managed to... It was hard to communicate to them exactly where we were. And yeah, they had to jump a few fences, but they managed it. What's this road? This looks like Clark's Lane. Clark's Lane level crossing, there you go. Some old farming equipment. Creswick Road. This is getting into Newstead itself. And here we are at Newstead, taking advantage of the park bench. Park bench. What am I saying? Newstead. The station last I went, which was a few years ago, it was being used as a community arts hub thing, but someone can tell me whether that's still the case today or not. Next train, ? Newstead Goods Shed, same design as Carisbrook. That is an old kerosene lamp storeroom. You often saw the lamp storerooms separate to the main station building, such that if there was a fire, it was contained to just the lamp storage room and didn't spread to the main station. Very classic Victorian Railways station design there. I think there might have been some toilets put in the back of the thing as well. Or other storerooms it could be. And that's the whole crew. Managed to set the camera up on the ledge. And from left to right, we've got Dylan, myself, James, Max, and Les. And looks like we're all posing and trying to be gangster. And that's a pretty normal photo. Same order of people. Crane. Mobile crane. Some creek. Probably Newstead Creek. What is it? Oh, it's the Loddon River. There you go. Five brothers. Les consumed an entire jar of this. Five brothers, what even is it? Like some tomato pasta sauce, I think. Oh, there you go, flooded street. And I think these are some photos of our campsite. Yeah, although it's so dark you can't really see anything. And I think, yeah, this is when we're on the bus, because we took the bus to Castlemaine. In hindsight, we should have just continued walking, but oh well. Max looking a bit silly. We took the train to Bendigo. Dylan's fast asleep, or is at least pretending to be. That looks like Malmesbury Station. Messaging, of course. That's Max. And yeah, we're really just so tired that we all became amused by the smallest, stupidest things. And I'm looking pretty tired myself in that photo. Everyone looks so young. I mean, it was 5 years ago, so you'd expect that. Yeah, Max did a little walk down the train looking like that. Classic. get a photo of me with James in the background. Looks like VL0 with the paper train passing by in the background. At the time I thought that was the first velocity ever made. In hindsight, no, it was not. I forget which number it replaced. VL1 was the first made. But then VL0 was a replacement for the velocities which were destroyed in the some level crossing incident. Beaufort, was it? Maybe. Southern Cross Station, nothing you haven't seen before, and that's the last photo. Trewella, that's the one. Trewella level crossing incident. Let's go back here and change this to main camera. Yeah, so Trewella, I forget which units, but they were written off and VL0 was put in to replace it. And the reason why they didn't just make it a successive number to that of all the velocities that had been made up to that point was because the lower numbers were all 2-car velocities and the higher numbers were all 3-car velocities. The ones that were destroyed were 2-car. The one that was destroyed was a 2-car velocity. And so they wanted to keep the number low. They didn't want to have it be the same number because then, there would be confusion that it was rebuilt when it wasn't. It was a replacement. So VL0 made sense because it was a low down number. And they would have been stuffed if there was a second velocity written off because you couldn't have VL-1. So, but I mean, it got converted to a 3-car set, and of course these days all velocities are 3-car sets. And I mean, there's talk of the standard gauge velocities looking like 4-car sets. But I think if there was an incident today where a velocity was written off, they would just build another one and have it as a successive number. That photo is my profile pic. It says Victorian Rail Heritage. Good spot. It is indeed. It's 5 years old now. I should probably change it, but never get around to it, so it can stay for now. So Victorian Rail Heritage is talking about flower wagons and that sort of thing, saying that the codes mean different things. VPFX is for flower, VPLX for lime, and VZGX for loco sand. Roderick Smith says the old route must have 2 bridges. Which one which I remember had only the brick piers remaining. We had to walk over the muddy creek bed. Oh yeah. Sprouters, yes. A bunch of talk about flower wagons. You can read that yourselves. Looks like Victorian Rail Heritage is providing a lot of detail over flower wagons and sand wagons and cement wagons. The carriage that hit the gates at Ballarat could be ridden off. Maybe, but probably not. I thought they'd fixed it already, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, an hour and 20 minutes, not so bad as far as Bromley Live time goes, but definitely not enough time for South Gippsland line, so that will be 2 weeks' time. There you go. One of the few times that I actually know the topic 2 weeks in advance. Yep, okay. For the Gunzels video this Sunday, it'll probably be pretty short. I'm likely to just put out some really old video that was previously released on my channel, but then I unlisted it when I started creating more regular videos. But I might just re-release it again and call it For the Gunzels. So you could see that. Which one? Don't know yet. Apparently the velocity is significantly damaged. Okay, I mean, whatever. I'm not going to argue with whatever they choose. It's velocity. There's, 90 velocities? Something like that nowadays. And I forget how many are yet to be produced. And I mean, there's the standard gauge velocities. So it's probably going to end up being more than 100. Yep. Okay. See you later, everyone. See you in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for watching.